Howdy ladies and gents, my name is Thom Gibson, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing a new review activity that I did with my students called the 3 Threes. I got this idea from a book called Total Participation Techniques. It's nothing I've ever seen or done before, so I thought I wanted to give it a shot. The general principle is you've got a 3x3 grid, and then there is a separate question in each one of the boxes. Instead of students just going through and then answering all the questions they can answer on their own, they have to go to a different person for each question and have that person answer it. And in the box, they have to summarize the answer that the other person gave. After that, they write the initials of the person that they asked, and then they go to someone else. And it's not a game of who can complete their chart first. The idea is just to complete the chart, summarizing all the answers and asking a different person every time.
Like, if there's 0 things there?
Several reasons that I really like this activity. First, it gets them up and moving, which is always a plus. Second, it has them working with different people for every question instead of 2 students working together to answer all of them themselves. Third thing is there's a lot of value in summarizing what the other person said. I go to you, I ask you to answer, and then I say, okay, so what you're saying is this, correct? Correct. All right, let me write that down. Make sure the students don't pass it to the other person for them to write it, because then they're missing out on the opportunity to be able to synthesize that information and articulate it in few enough words that actually fit on the box. The fourth thing I liked about it was I was able to see trends and see that there were certain squares that weren't really getting answered a whole lot, and so we would have to review those a little bit more than some of the other questions. I also really like that if I go to you and I have 5 boxes still on there, you have the freedom to answer one that you feel a little bit more confident in, as opposed to me just saying, can you answer this one question? And if you don't know, you're like, I'm not sure, and I think it's this or that. I told students if the other person says something that you disagree with, that's okay, but talk about it. See if you can get your notes out, see if you can come to an agreement on what the actual answer should be, and then summarize that answer. In one of my smaller classes, I did let myself become a resource, and so students came to me and they said, could you answer this question? And then I answered, they summarized it, and I said, okay, you're good to go. As far as the types of questions, for the most part, I tried to avoid really simple answers like yes or no or one-step problems that they could just look at and just do, but instead something that gave a little bit more of why is this true, or which property do you see at play in this expression and why. I think it's fine to have a couple lower level questions in there, but you don't want all of them to be that way. I've linked to the one that I made for my pre-algebra class in this first unit that we did. It was kind of like a mid-unit review before our first quiz. I've also linked to the total participation book that I got this idea from, and it kind of breaks it down even more, gives more examples from different classes and other things to look out for when you're actually doing this in your class. I plan on doing this again. The students had some good feedback. The only piece of critical feedback is some students were like, I kind of just wish I could have done all the problems on my own just to make sure I was getting that practice. But considering a lot of the work that we do in there is either students working on their own or working with one other person, I did want something that was going to get them up and moving and interacting with a lot more students than they normally would. I'm not going to do every lesson like this, but I felt it was a great way to do a review. The question of the day is, if you plan on doing this, write in a comment down below what grade level and what subject you want to try to do it for and why, and maybe give a few ideas of some of those higher order questions that you could put on there, but maybe not having something that's so long of an answer that's going to be hard to put in that little box. So hopefully seeing some of those in the comments section will give you some ideas of how you can implement this in your classroom. My name is Thom Gibson, and if you'd like to stay in the loop with upcoming videos where I help teachers do innovative work in their classrooms, then go ahead and subscribe, hit the bell if you'd like to be notified as soon as a new video comes out. I hope you learned something today, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.